Okay, let's go ahead and go over trade. So, well, first we'll go ahead and start the next turn. So, let's take our worker here and continue down the settler and pay attention how far you can move with the roads. The roads are just a huge lifesaver. I'm gonna keep bringing him out over this way. Working on that road. And let's see what they have a little. Oh, he's got a worker there. Oh, there's a settler. Maybe what we can do is we can kind of block his path a little bit using zones of control, which we'll talk about later. Okay, so that go ahead. That's all of the moves for our units. So let's break down trade and open up a city. Okay, so this city, if we count up the gold numbers here, we'll see that it is bringing in 3 trade. That matches what we see over here. We are only have a net of 2 because of the corruption, which is, I think that in this form of government and despotism, which you start out in, every city will have at least 1 corruption. I could be wrong about that, but the farther away you get, that's why it's good to build, to not just go all over the place. You want your empire to be continuous once you can defend it well. And then you also want cities to be close to the capital, and the capital to be centralized to lower the rate of corruption. So what we do is we go ahead and we take the net of every city. 2 there, 2 here, and 2 over here. So we should be bringing in approximately 6. We should be bringing in exactly 6 trade across the empire. And what then happens is that the game will, it takes your total trade and then uses your tax rate, which we see here as 40% to tax, which means gold, 0 to luxury, which is happiness, a concept we'll go over later, and 60% to science. So we know that we're bringing in 6 total trade points, and these are the icons. This is how we set it to 60% science. So if we click on this, you can now see we've gone to 50-50. Despotism will not let you go above 60% in any category. So if we try to turn that one up to, turn that to science, it won't let us. It's going to block us. So we'd have to turn one of these away. It's kind of a clunky way that they designed this. But now I can switch that one to science because it won't let us go beyond 60% in any category. So let's go ahead and, so what we see here is, okay, we're bringing in 3 gold. Well, what about science? Check science. We're bringing in 3 science, which is called bulbs. So that adds up. That is where those 6 trade points are going. And we can play with this to get a different percentage. And the game is always going to have to do a little bit of rounding because the numbers won't come up perfect. So that's how the tax rate works. I'm a big believer that early in the game and for most of the game you want a high. You want your tax rate to be high in science. Gold is important, but getting the edge technologically on your enemies is everything. So if you want more money so that you don't have to wait for things to be built, so you can expand faster and create units faster, if you want to get ahead in the research tree and get stronger units where you can decimate your enemies faster, then you need high trade. And the way to do that is to build cities where there are high trade tiles. One of the best places to get a high trade city is on the ocean. If we alt click and hold an ocean tile here, we'll see that every single ocean tile it's going to give 2 trade. Now let's compare that to a plain tile, 0 trade. Let's compare that to a grassland tile, 0. You'll find that almost every tile defaults to 0 unless it has a special on it, like the silk here. See, the silk gives 3. Got the -1 for despotism, but so really it's only special tiles having the special resource on them that can give you trade, like the jewels over here on the jungle. The only way that a normal tile, other than a special resource, is going to give more trade is if a river's on it, which a river always gives +1 trade. Even in forests, areas that a road won't give it the trade bonus. And building roads. If the grassland, which is normally give no trade, with a road built on it, will now have +1 trade. So you're going to want to build roads to connect all of your cities and for the main purpose of transportation. But after that, in all of the workable areas of a city, you're going to want to build roads on all of the tiles because it's going to increase the trade that puts out. So we now know the value of trade, and we understand where do we get trade from. The answer is oceans, special resource tiles like silk in forests or jewels in jungles, from rivers on any tile, or by building roads on our forests, grasslands, and plains. And that kind of wraps up trade. Want money and you want good technologies, then build cities where there's high trade and make sure to build roads across all of your grasslands, plains, and deserts. Now, like I said, just remember, I'm a big believer in the strategy of build roads connecting all of your cities first. Only once you have roads going everywhere you need to for transportation purposes do you go back and have your workers just indiscriminately build roads on every flatland tile. And I think that wraps up this episode.